Have you ever felt like your emotions were too much? Your needs didn't matter, or your boundaries were seen as an attack? Maybe someone close to you convinced you that you were the problem. Too sensitive, too difficult, too demanding. That heavy feeling doesn't come from nowhere. It's the result of years of holding in emotions, of silencing yourself to keep the peace of being told your voice isn't worth hearing. This video will reveal 7 powerful signs that you've been suppressing your emotions for too long. Signs that quietly drain your energy, steal your joy, and disconnect you from your true self. By recognizing them, you can begin to release the weight you've been carrying and start walking the path back to emotional freedom. You'll find gentle, insightful content to help women heal emotionally, rebuild self-worth, and reconnect with their inner peace. If you stay until the end of this video, you'll not only recognize these hidden signs, but also discover the first steps toward reclaiming your heart. The first sign is perhaps the most common, yet also the most overlooked. 1. Always saying, "I'm fine, I'm fine." 2 simple words, but for someone who's learned to hide pain, they become a shield. A quick reflex to keep others from asking questions, to avoid vulnerability, to push away the risk of being judged. At first, it feels harmless. It spares you from awkward conversations. It maintains harmony. It lets you slip by unnoticed. But with time, "I'm fine" begins to carve itself into your identity. You repeat it so often that it no longer sounds like a response. It sounds like your name. The problem is, every time you say "I'm fine" when you're not, you silence a piece of your truth. You teach yourself that your feelings don't matter, that your voice is safer locked away. Slowly, you drift from who you are until even you begin to forget what your real emotions feel like. But here's the shift. Healing begins the moment you hesitate before those words. When you pause and ask yourself, "Am I truly fine? Or am I just afraid of being seen?" That single question cracks the mask. It allows one small breath of honesty to escape. And sometimes that's enough to remind you that your truth deserves to live outside the cage of "I'm fine." 2. The body grows exhausted. When emotions are locked away, the body becomes the keeper of what the heart refuses to express. Sleepless nights creep in, headaches appear without explanation, and fatigue clings to you, even on days when you've done almost nothing. This exhaustion isn't laziness. It isn't weakness. It's the body whispering, "I am carrying too much for you. Please let me rest." Each ache, each restless night is a reminder that your silence has a weight, and your body is the one bearing it. The danger is that you may start to normalize it, convincing yourself that feeling drained is just who you are now. But that isn't the truth. Your body isn't broken. It's begging for release. And often the relief it needs doesn't come from another cup of coffee, but from giving your emotions permission to breathe. 3. Losing interest in what once brought joy. There was a time when music lifted your spirit, when a favorite book felt like home, when an afternoon walk filled you with calm. But now those same things feel distant, muted, stripped of their color. What once sparked light inside you now feels dull like ashes where fire used to be. This isn't because you've become cold or ungrateful. It's the natural result of emotions being pressed down for too long. Joy cannot bloom in a soil packed too tightly. When sadness, anger, or fear are buried without release, they take up the very space where delight is meant to live. The danger is subtle. You may begin to believe that you've simply outgrown happiness, that this grayness is permanent. But the truth is, your joy hasn't disappeared. It's only hidden beneath the weight of what you haven't allowed yourself to feel. Healing begins with giving yourself permission to rediscover small sparks. A song played softly, a short walk outside, a quiet moment of beauty. Even if they feel faint at first, those sparks are proof that your joy is not gone. It's waiting for the chance to return. 4. Sudden bursts of anger over small things. A careless word, a distracted glance, something so minor it shouldn't matter yet. Suddenly, your chest tightens and anger surges like a storm breaking through. You lash out, or perhaps you keep it inside, burning silently. Either way, the intensity feels bigger than the moment itself. This anger doesn't come from nowhere. It's the overflow of everything you've been holding back. Each time you swallowed, hurt instead of speaking it. Each time you smiled, while your heart ached, another drop was added to a glass already too full. So when the smallest drop falls in today, the glass spills over. The danger lies in misunderstanding yourself. You may think, why am I so overreactive? What's wrong with me? But nothing is wrong with you. Your anger is not proof that you're broken. It's proof that you've carried too much in silence. The path forward isn't about erasing anger. It's about learning to notice it before it explodes. When you feel that heat rising, pause. Ask yourself what wound lies underneath. Often beneath the anger is sadness, longing, or the need to finally be heard. And giving voice to those hidden feelings can empty the glass before it overflows again. 5. Withdrawing and avoiding real connection. Little by little, you stop reaching out. You tell yourself you're just tired or that you prefer being alone. But underneath, it's fear that keeps you silent. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being judged. Fear that if you show what you really feel, people will turn away. So you build walls. You nod. You smile. You keep conversations light and safe. On the outside, it looks like you're fine. But inside, loneliness grows. Isolation becomes a quiet prison or one you've locked yourself into without even realizing it. The tragedy is that this silence doesn't protect you. It only deepens the distance between you and the people who might truly care. And the longer you hide, the more invisible you start to feel, as if your voice has no place in the world. The first step toward breaking this pattern isn't to spill everything at once. It's to risk one small moment of honesty. A single sentence shared with someone you trust. I'm not as okay as I seem. That act alone can begin to crack the walls you've built, letting in light, reminding you that you don't have to carry your silence forever. 6. Difficulty crying, even when you want to. There are moments when your chest feels heavy, your throat tightens, and your eyes sting with unshed tears. You want to cry, you need to cry, but nothing comes. The tears stay locked inside, as if they've been trained not to fall. This isn't a lack of emotion. It's the result of years teaching yourself that crying is weakness, that showing pain makes you a burden. So you build an inner dam, holding back every drop, believing it kept you strong. But in truth, it only kept you stuck. The danger of never letting yourself cry is that your sadness has nowhere to go. It lingers in your body, turning into tension headaches, fatigue, or a numbness that spreads slowly through your days. What you call holding it together is often just carrying the storm inside. But here's the truth. Tears are not a failure. They are a release like rain clearing the dust from the sky. Allowing yourself to cry even alone, even silently, is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of trust that your body knows how to heal and that your feelings deserve to flow freely. 7. Always carrying everything alone. You've learned to hold the weight of the world on your shoulders, no matter how heavy it gets. You whisper to yourself, "I'll handle it." You don't ask for help, not because you don't need it, but because you fear being seen as weak, needy, or too much. So you carry it all in silence. At first, this seems noble. People may even admire your strength, your independence. But behind the mask of self-reliance, there's exhaustion and a quiet ache that whispers, "I can't do this forever." The danger of carrying everything alone is that it slowly convinces you that you must, that you are unworthy of support, unworthy of care. And that belief traps you in isolation, making every burden feel heavier than it is. But here's the truth. Even the strongest warrior lays down their sword to rest. Asking for help doesn't mean you failed. It means you've trusted someone enough to share your load. It means you've remembered that you too deserve kindness. The path to healing is not to carry less alone, but to allow others to carry more with you. When you risk saying, "I can't do this all by myself," you open the door to connection. And through that connection, the weight finally begins to lift. Each of these 7 signs is not a flaw in who you are, but evidence of how hard you fought to survive. Your mind and body did everything they could to protect you in a world where it didn't always feel safe to be vulnerable. But now, as you step onto the path of healing, those same defenses can begin to feel heavy. Change doesn't happen all at once. It's slow, sometimes painful, often messy. But every small step matters. Every pause before you say, "I'm fine." Every breath taken instead of snapping in anger. Every moment you allow yourself to cry. These are signs that you are reclaiming yourself. You are not broken. You are a whole person in the making. Your feelings, even when shaky, are still powerful. Your voice, even when soft, is still yours, and it deserves to be heard. If this message touched your heart, if you saw even a piece of your own story here, I invite you to share in the comments. Your words might help another woman realize she's not alone. And as always, if this video brought value to you, a simple like and subscribe goes a long way. It helps more women who need healing find their way here, and it ensures you'll never miss the next story that might make a difference in your life. Thank you for being here.